When Hugh Freeze got to Auburn, it was in shambles. It's getting a little bit better, but it's nowhere near the Auburn of, say, when I was much younger. They went 5-7 this season. I mean, yeah, they beat Alabama A&M, New Mexico, Kentucky, UL Monroe, and they beat Texas A&M. But yeah, the rest of their games were not good. And so we're going to discuss a little bit about what their season was like. One of the problems being you don't know who the quarterback's going to be next year, so I can just talk about what happened this year. Hugh Freeze is rebuilding the team, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see what he is able to do now that he's getting it changed. So let's get into it.
This is Paul for Redneck Sports. I believe that everybody should win in life, or at least attempt to. The first three maxims of General Robert Neyland's game maxims, I believe apply to everybody. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. If at first the game or the breaks go against you, don't let up. Put on more steam. Welcome to the channel. Now let's discuss some sports.
So this year, Peyton Thorne threw for 2,713 yards. Jarquez Hunter, 1,201 yards rushing. Keandra Lambert-Smith received and got 981 yards himself. Peyton Thorne had a 62.8 completion percentage. Hunter, like I said, ran for 1,201 yards, had 8 touchdowns. Thorne had 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Peyton Thorne, their next best rusher, he rushed 112 times, 283 yards, rushed for 2 touchdowns himself. So, hey, he did far better than some of the quarterbacks out there when it came to interception versus touchdowns. Damari Alston had 3 touchdowns rushing, 52 carries, 276 yards. They weren't as spread out as they needed to have been. I mean, honestly, they weren't. They had 3 people that got rushing touchdowns. That was Hunter, Thorne, and Alston. Receiving, Lambert-Smith, the bird told you about, he got 8 touchdowns. Cam Coleman, 37 receptions, got 8 touchdowns. Malcolm Simmons, 40 receptions, 3 touchdowns. Rivaldo Fairweather, 2 touchdowns. Jarquez Hunter, talked about him before. He got 1 receiving touchdown. That seems to be the biggest problem with that was their biggest problem. They weren't spread out enough. They didn't have enough weapons. So that could be why they ended up with their 5-7 record. Now, when it came to defense, Dorian Mossy Jr. Had 81 tackles. Jaron Thompson had 2 interceptions. Jaron Thompson had 65 tackles. I mean, interceptions wise, Jaron Thompson had 2. Kayan Lee had 2. Sylvester Smith had 1. Caleb Wooden had 1. Jay Crawford had 1. Antonio Kite had 1. That seemed to be it. Touchdown wise, I mean, sacks wise, Jalen McLeod had 8 sacks. Keldrick Falk had 7. it was somewhat of a when you take a look at other SEC teams, even teams that had worse records than Auburn, their defense was eh. I mean, seriously, it was eh. So I'm not saying that they necessarily were a bad team. Well, they were. They went 5-7 though. That's not that bad compared to some schools, but their defense could have been a lot better. That's the only way to describe it. Now look, you take a look at they totally squashed Alabama A&M, but it's Alabama A&M. California only lost by a touchdown. New Mexico pretty much squashed them. Arkansas lost, they lost by 10 points. Oklahoma lost, they only lost by 6 points. Georgia, yeah, it wasn't close. Missouri, they only lost by 4 points. They beat Kentucky 24-10. Vandy beat them by 10. They squashed UL Monroe. 4 overtime, 2-point win over A&M. That was their best game. They fought hard in that battle, and they lost by 2 touchdowns to Alabama. So it wasn't that they were a horrible team. The 5-7 record is what it is. Their problem is they didn't have an offense that was had enough weapons on it. Their defense was eh, like I said before. I mean, that's the only way to describe them. So that's what they were dealing with. That's what Hugh Freeze was dealing with. And Hugh Freeze has shown that he can be a really good quarter or a really good coach. So with the new quarterback, with the team building that he has done so far with Auburn, I think next year that they're going to be a far scarier team to look at. Um, Unfortunately, I don't know what their schedule is just yet. Uh, Let me see if I can find that real. Okay, I did find it. Sorry. They've got Baylor, Ball State, kickoff in the Plains is what that's called. They're going to be at Baylor. South Alabama's coming to them. They're going to Oklahoma. They're going to Texas A&M. Georgia's coming to them. Missouri's coming to them. They're going to Arkansas, which is a tough place to play. Kentucky's coming to them. They're going to Vandy, Mercer, and then the Iron Bowl at Auburn. That's their season. They'll beat Ball State if they apply themselves. South Alabama can be a little scary, but I think they can beat them. Mercer, no big deal there. Baylor, I honestly couldn't tell you. We don't know what team we're getting next year. Did I think they could beat Vandy maybe? Yeah, I think it's going to be a they're either going to be really good or it's going to be another middling situation for them. But hey, Auburn's Auburn, and you know that they're going to keep pushing until they get a good team. They want to win the Iron Bowl. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. Thank you for watching this video. I've had some fairly good success with all of my Redneck Sports stuff, and I hope you enjoyed the topic. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that rigmarole, and also just let me know what you want to hear about. I'll give a redneck spin to this stuff. Let me tell you, I love sports. So I love people that want to join me in that. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.